Hello. Today we are talking about high soul connections, twin flame connections, and how to recognize them because a soul connection will have three factors, okay? And other soul connections may have one or two, but in a authentic twin connection, you will have all three, okay? Otherwise, it could be trauma bonding, or it could be a catalyst, and a catalyst is another kind of soul connection that will help you in your spiritual growth. However, um, yeah, there's a difference. We were talking about that. But first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Janine. I'm a spiritual coach, manifestation coach, astrologer, and yeah, I'm here to help you ascend and yeah, get the dream life you want. And you can help me by liking and subscribing and sharing my videos, and I hope yeah, see you in other videos as well. But let's talk about authentic soul connections. Okay, number one is the soul recognition. Both souls will recognize each other. Okay, the first meeting, it's something that's very important, and your person will have given you some hint that this is special. It could be words that they said, wow, I've never experienced anything like this before. However, that in itself does not mean that you're dealing with a twin flame. There are other soul connections as well where you have that first recognition. That's why we're talking about three different things a twin flame must have. But again, a soul recognition can happen in other kind of soulmate relationships. For example, my best friend and I, when we met, there was this instant connection right away. But it's not. She's not my twin flame. It's not a romantic relationship. But anyway, a soul recognition can happen. It can be the way they look at you the first time you meet. But don't get me wrong. It's not the same stare like a guy at a club who thinks a girl is attractive would have. It is more than that. Okay, it is something that is very, very, very special. It does something to you, and we're not talking just about lust. We're talking about a deep soul level. You will be noticed. Okay, you will be noticed, and they will look at you like they're not looking at other people. And we're not talking about this has to be the entire time, because again, in high soul connection there could be separations, but the first time you meet, you will see in their eyes that something is happening within them as well. It's like a big surprise. It's shaking you up. It's a pull. It is something, and if only you have it, it's not an authentic twin flame. Okay, then you're probably putting someone on a pedestal. And also, when you're dealing with a authentic twin flame, it's not like you see them on TV, for example, and you get awakened, and because then it doesn't happen to the other person. The other person, if for example you see someone in TV and you get awakened, that person could be a catalyst for you, or a catalyst for many people. For example, celebrities are a big projection wall, for example, you could say, and that's why so many people claim they have celebrity twin flames. I do believe they do exist. However, it's not that you get awakened seeing them in TV. You would meet them in person and get awakened, and they will have that soul recognition as well if you would be dealing with something like that. But if you saw them online, TV, however, it would happen to both of you. Okay, so if it's someone that you perceive online, for example, and they don't even know you exist, it's not a twin flame. In an authentic twin flame connection, it is a spiritual journey for both of you, not just for one person. Okay, if it's just one person, it's a catalyst you're dealing with and not an authentic connection. So again, number one is both recognize there is something special. It's the first soul recognition, and it is a journey for two people. It's a twin flame connection. Twin already indicates two people that are going through this ascension journey, even though it's slightly different. Of course, there's the divine energy, divine feminine, and the divine masculine energy. Doesn't matter what gender you are, but there's two different energies, and they go through this journey different. However, they go through this journey together. So if it's just you, then again, it's a catalyst. or it's some kind of yeah, putting someone on a pedestal. And especially if you're not even going through some kind of a journey through awakening, you just see somebody and they do something to you, you think, oh, that's my twin flame. No, then you put somebody on a pedestal, and it's like worshipping a celebrity or something like that. Not the same thing. Which brings us to the second point. An authentic twin flame connection will have a spiritual, it will trigger a spiritual growth for both of you. There will be a spiritual awakening journey and or ascension journey. Okay, I'm saying and or. If you already have been going through an awakening process, it may trigger further awakenings because there's more than just one. And or the ascension, if you already have been through some of the awakening processes, then it's just going outwards, and both of you will. So if you're stuck in a relationship and it just hurts and you're not doing anything about it, it would be more likely trauma bonding, because in an authentic twin flame connection you have this inner urge of development, you have this urge of dealing with your shadows, and that could be through some kind of spiritual practice, meditation, ho'oponopono, whatever. But it also could be that inner feeling like I'm going to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist now. It would be something. And I always tell my clients the feminine energy, and again, has nothing to do with your physical gender, but the feminine energy is working on herself, and it is working inside of the masculine. It's more like a passive approach. The feminine energy is the one that is more likely getting triggered into doing the work, and it is happening within the masculine energy. I always imagine them at night when they're laying in bed, and then stuff comes up, and that's how they deal with it. They yeah, take a different approach, but it's okay. It's yin yang energy. And I always told my clients, it's imagine you meet a high level soul connection and you connect and you share 100% feminine and 100% masculine energy. We are genderless souls. We all have both in us. Some souls have a bit more of one than the other. That can happen, especially in split twin connections. But we have everything within us. And then when we connect, we share 100% masculine, 100% feminine energy. And what usually happens is that the woman, but it could be the masculine, but one person steps into the distorted feminine energy. And the distorted feminine energy would be, it could be anger, it could be pain. You know, it's usually when all of a sudden there is this cut, the separation, and it's important for this process. But the feminine is getting all, yeah, the unhealed emotions, the impatience, the pain, the anger, everything like that. And let's say she's got 70% of the emotions with her, then there's only 30% of the emotions left for the guy, and they have to balance it out and go into 70% of the masculine, distorted masculine energy. We're not talking about divine energy at this point, we're talking about the distorted energy. And the distorted masculine energy is withdrawing, it's overthinking. Woman does that too, of course, but it's more like rationalizing, withdrawing. And then it's the typical runner chaser dynamic. The woman feels the man withdraw, and then she's going to chase him, and because she's getting even more, stepping more into the fear-based energy, and he is withdrawing even more. It's a job of the feminine, because she's the one who feels the pain more, because the masculine is oppressing his stuff, and the feminine, she has to deal with it. It's all coming up, and it's inside her, the anger, the pain, the frustration, the impatience, the massive amount of pain. It's all of the shadows coming up. So it's her job to deal with that, to step into the middle, to balance it out. And when she's in the middle, she's drawing the masculine energy into the center as well, because they always have to balance themselves. For example, if the masculine is trying to oppress their feeling, she's getting kicked into the impatient pain energy and can step back into the center, and then she will draw him in. And at that point, all of the oppressed stuff from the masculine is coming up, and they are doing their healing because the feminine is holding the center. And that's why the masculine is faster, because the woman usually, or the feminine energy, she learns to get into the center and then get out, and in the center and get out. It's like a process, and she's learning to hold the center more and more and more. And once he learns to hold the center, he cannot really get out because she's holding him in here, and then they have to deal with their stuff. At least that's what we perceive. What the truth is, we are jumping to another timeline, but I'm telling you how you perceive it because that can help. And anyway, if that doesn't happen, if you don't have that inner urge of really dealing with your shadows and doing your shadow work, it's not a twin flame. Okay, we're not talking about, even at a twin flame connection, you may have that phase where everything is too much and you are going through the dark night of the soul, and it's natural, it's a phase, and it can take a while, but eventually you get out of it and you do ascend, you do awaken more and more and more and more. But if this person is not triggering this ascension or awakening process, again, it's not an authentic twin flame. That's trauma bonding. Okay, especially if you stay in this kind of anger, victim mentality, labeling the other person a narcissist, that's not a twin flame connection. Because you learn to take responsibility for your own shadows, and labeling yourself as the victim and the other person doing stuff to you, not divine energy. That is very distorted energy still. So that would hint at not a twin flame connection. And the third one is how you know that you're not dealing with a catalyst, but with a genuine connection, is you stay connected. Okay, I've heard people say, or often read in Facebook groups, for example, yeah, I met my twin flame and I was going through this spiritual awakening, and now this connection has ended. And well, I don't love them anymore. I still care about them, but yeah, I don't love them anymore. I've found somebody else. Then it's not a twin flame connection, and you were dealing with a catalyst, because a catalyst soul can have that soul recognition as well, because a catalyst comes to your life and it does feel different from anything you have ever felt before. And that's important, because that way it is triggering the process. So a catalyst comes, it's a soul template, it's a soul contract, you could say, to help you to ascend, to awaken, and in some cases to prepare you for a divine connection. That can happen. It happened in my place. I had 3 catalysts basically. One was my soul twin. It is I met him when I was 19. Then the split twin, and then of course my twin flame, my monadic twin. He's also a catalyst. And the first 2, they were there to prepare me. The first one was there to prepare me for the second, and the second was there to prepare me for the last one, that you can only meet once you have done the healing, at least the biggest part of it. Like, I don't know, 95% or so. So if you, so a catalyst would feel a lot like a twin flame, to be honest, because you feel a stronger connection than you have ever felt before, and you feel that pain and all that stuff you would feel with a twin flame, and you go through this ascension. A catalyst can have number one again was both have the soul recognition, doesn't have to. You will have that spiritual development with a catalyst. They may have that as well, don't have to, maybe you're the only one. But the thing is, again, with a authentic twin flame, once you have done the healing, you get to union, because we manifest what our inner beliefs are, and within authentic connection you feel this attachment to this person, and you have the inner belief, the inner knowing, that's the person I end up with, and then you would end up with that person. Unless, again, this catalyst was there to help you to get ready to attract the real thing. Okay, then you this would bond would break. Breaking is a wrong word because they always stay a soul connection of yours. It's just the more, how do you say, the more earthly bond, like the emotional feelings. That bond would break, and then you attract the other one very soon afterwards. It's like leveling up. And anyway, but with the catalyst, again, it will feel a lot like a twin flame. And I do have another video. I think I'm going to record this right after this one, and it is called again, a different kind of divine counterparts. I know I have a 2.5 hour video on that. This one is going to be a bit shorter, and there will be sub videos, like extra videos, where I talk about my personal story, my personal experiences, because that can help you understand the energies better. Because again, every time it felt like a twin flame, but it turned out not to be. But I still explain why it did feel that way, and why I don't think there would be like false twin flames. I don't believe in false twin flames. There were authentic connections because there was a huge awakening going on. Um, but again, three things. The first is, in an authentic twin flame, both have soul recognition. However, that can happen in other soul connections as well. You have the spiritual development, and you stay connected even afterwards. Because again, a catalyst, this bond would dissolve once the catalyst has done the job. And by that, again, I don't mean that you don't care about them anymore. You will probably care about them for the rest of your life, because they have played this amazing part. I want to talk about catalysts again, because a catalyst, in my personal experiences, there was nothing toxic going on. Okay, there were great guys, sweet guys, kind guys, very nice, gentle, amazing men. There was nothing toxic there. There was, of course, my issue was fear of abandonment. So of course there was the running and the chasing, but there was never saying any bad word or any meanness. There is no kind of misbehavior, um, assault in any way. Nothing like that at all. A catalyst, however, it can have that. And that's another thing. If it's toxic, it's not an authentic twin flame. What hurts in a twin flame connection is that you have your desires, your also like your needs that you project on this person. Like, I need to be loved and you're not giving it to me, and that's what hurts. They don't do anything bad to you. Okay, that's very important. They're not toxic. The pain comes from not getting your wishes or your desires, your needs fulfilled. That's the pain in these connections. But it's not that they mistreat you in any way. Okay, there may be ghosting, yeah, but again, it's not the other person's fault. When you have a fear of abandonment, you can only attract that kind of behavior, and it's a gift, it's a blessing in disguise, because only then you can heal that wound. So they don't do anything bad to you. But again, if there's any kind of toxic behavior, they mistreat you, not a twin flame, because a twin flame is a divine connection, and mistreating someone, it's not divine energy at all. So that's another one. What did I write down here? Sorry, lost doesn't mean other person. I don't know what I meant with my notes here. I wrote down something now, like, what did I mean? Yeah, okay. You will always stay connected with this person, even if they would not be in your life. Again, I don't understand what I wrote down with my notes. Anyway, but again, that's can hint at a genuine connection. Again, if you don't want them after you have gone through this awakening process, you were dealing with a catalyst, which is a beautiful thing as well. you know, if it's a gift, if you went through spiritual ascension because of that connection, that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift, but not a twin flame. It's just a different energy. It's not less. It's less. It's what your soul chose to experience. So don't think like, oh, it was just there. Um, it was still something beautiful, something that your soul agreed on experiencing before it came here. But again, if you have gone through the awakening and you don't feel like, yeah, I don't want this person anymore, not a twin flame, because how can you not want something you are that strongly connected, like a monadic twin flame? Again, you would only attract a monadic twin flame once you have done the healing, but it's literally your soul. There's just a tiny part, the lower energies, the more earthly energies, that are split. And a split twin, you still share the oversoul. So it's you're very strongly connected through all of the chakras as well. So, and you feel that connection even if you're not in touch. Of course, you can still pick up stuff if you're saying like, yeah, I feel the other person. You can pick up stuff even if they're not your divine counterpart. If you have like empathic energies, you can pick up stuff from strangers, literally. And if it's someone you know, you can pick up stuff from your siblings, your best friend, and that by itself doesn't mean it has to be a twin flame. But again, if not all of those three things apply, then it's either trauma bonding or a catalyst. Okay? And if all three apply, still it doesn't have to be a twin flame, but a divine counterpart. You are dealing with a very high soul connection, very, very high soul connection. Okay, and you will have to have all of these three things. So I hope that helped, and I wish you all the best now. Bye bye.